Test. 1, 2. You got me? I got it. It is down. All right.
Oh, you got it?
Test. 1, 2. There you go.
There we go.
Test. 1, 2. Got me? I can't hear you, though.
Yeah, can't hear me.
There we go. All right. I got you now.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
3. Two. And
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Blake Sloan here. Got a brand new show. I'm fresh off the airplane from New York City with Barbara Corcoran. We had to run a rerun last week because I was actually up there shooting a new commercial. It will be out soon. Look out for that here on Shark Tank. Also, Good Morning America here on the mornings and some of the local news shows. That's super excited. But we got a brand new show this week. Tons of great information. We have the overall macro market update for anyone that missed last week's show. But really, we'll dig into the micro market this week and really get into what's my zip code selling for. The numbers are very interesting to say the least. They're all over the place. Some areas are up tremendously. We had a few slight areas see some decline in sales. That's something we expected a little bit. But the good news is price is still up like crazy. Interest rates been kind of all over the place. They're back up slightly here these past few weeks and again since last week's show. But we'll talk about that. Overall, though, one thing that's really cool we'll talk about is Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach is still absolutely crushing it. Some new news came out this week that talks about Myrtle Beach International Airport's the busiest airport in South Carolina. Now, we're seeing that, and we're seeing so many people, just hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars coming here buying property. Just looking at the numbers this morning, $210 million real estate sold the last 7 days here on the Grand Strand. And so great news here as well. We have some amazing success stories, which is super cool. And also one thing we were just talking about, I'll be here kind of as a guest co-host on Wednesday on the morning show. And so super excited about that. But stay with us, and we'll make sure we get to a lot of great information for you guys in regards to real estate today.
for any listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Dave Beck. You know, one of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Now, last week we learned a little bit about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work.
Absolutely. And that's just the calling behind the show and the why we do the show. We've been doing this over 10 years now. And the reality is I still see the same mistakes over and over that are made by home sellers and also home buyers. And I think it's just something that has to do with the real estate industry as a whole, where people make this huge mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same, and it could not be further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, you don't want just a part-time attorney who's just tried a few cases in the last year, right? You want the absolute best, the most aggressive. And so I don't know why anyone would demand anything less for their largest asset or one of the largest assets, which is usually your real estate. And so here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller, it comes down to one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. That's it, right? Not the wall color, not your grass quality. It has to do with really how they execute, because a lot of people don't realize in selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, guess what that does? Sells the property and gets the most amount of money in your pocket. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, that could be anything from the quality of the photos, the order of the photos. Does the agent actually answer the telephone when the buyer calls in? Does the agent answer online leads when somebody inquires? And there's so many variables that matter in terms of pricing, negotiation, that tend to cost sellers tens of thousands of dollars. And the main problem you see is just the average agent or marketplace sells roughly 4 homes a year, right? I wouldn't feel very comfortable getting LASIK eye surgery from a doctor who's done 4, but people list their largest asset with an agent who's working part-time, who's only sold a few homes. And so the reality is, you have to have someone who can manage those variables proactively and be able to do it together. The problem with most agents, and I was like this at one point, is you have one single agent who's trying to juggle all the balls. And so, for example, they're trying to work with buyers and sellers and do the photography and the listing and the administration. And in essence, you have one single person working the front register, the drive-through, and the French fries at the same time. McDonald's, it doesn't work very well. And so what we did is create a system that's proven repeatable, that creates maximum leverage at every single point, both with teammates, aka people, and also technology. And that system's called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. Okay, I designed it. We licensed other agents, other parts of the country, but it works very, very, very well. And both of those, all they really do is they stack the dominoes. They stack them in your favor. So we create a small gap for you at point 1, a small gap at point 2. And you stack those up over time. What happens is you create a massive gap between you and everyone else, and it gives our client a huge competitive advantage. And so on the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there too. It's a very difficult market right now. If you're a buyer trying to navigate it, you need someone with experience and a process and a system who can help you. And so we built that for buyers. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to absolute best deals, foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, the home inspection, and ultimately all the way to the closing table with vendors and everything else you need. But the bottom line is you need someone who's an expert in the current hot market. And so one thing that's important to think about and just talk about, and I mentioned this last week, but I think it's really important. I hear this conversation a lot. The market's super hot. Anyone can sell a property. You can sell a property. You don't need me. You don't need a real estate agent, right? You can sell it yourself. But the difference is there's a big difference between selling it and selling it for the most amount of money. And so the best analogy I've been able to find is a classic Corvette. You can take the classic Corvette. Let's say you had one, it's pristine, amazing condition, right? Mint, very, very low miles. You can sell that for a lot of money. You can sell that today in the Walmart parking lot on 501 if you want to, right? Find out, drop it off, get a bunch of calls, sell it today. But that does not mean you get the most amount of money because you haven't exposed it yet to a large amount of buyers who are willing to pay a premium for that classic Corvette by seeing the value. And so if you take the same classic Corvette, put it in the Walmart parking lot, but also in every Corvette enthusiast website, every Corvette enthusiast magazine, you get a lot more eyeballs on there, and you increase the demand and increase the chances of finding a buyer who's willing to pay a premium. So that's exactly what we do with our Guaranteed Sold System. But the problem is most agents simply put your house in the Walmart parking lot. If you know what that is, that's MLS. That's it, right? They do the 3 Ps. They promise the world get listing. 2, they put it to MLS. And 3, they pray someone else brings a buyer. So if you're a listener to the show or you have friends or relatives thinking about buying, you deserve to have more than your house put into the Walmart parking lot. So if you want to know more about how that works, about how that system works, reach out, call me in our office right now, 843-808-SOLD. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
On a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. And so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. That's why on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
As a real estate investor, I look for sharp agents who really know their market. Agents who do so much business that they can find me the right investor property and they can sell it for the most money without trying. When I need real estate advice in Myrtle Beach, I call Blake Sloan. This innovative marketing attracts hundreds of buyers every month, which creates demand for your home and selling it faster and for more money. He guarantees to sell it on your timeline for a nibble buyer. Call the agent I trust, Blake Sloan, and avoid the drama.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome commercial there from Barbara Corcoran. Had a lot of time in New York City last week, and actually I filmed an updated commercial with her. And she's crazy. She's wild. She's super awesome. Really very fun to work with. She told me that, of course, I was intense like usual, and then also as I was bulking up like a wrestler because I've been working out. But she's wild, man. She's a flirt. She's super cool. But very excited about that partnership that we've had for I think like 7-8 years now. And also the new commercial coming out. Look for that to be out on Good Morning America. On Shark Tank, I think the season debut is coming up in a couple weeks, so look out for that as well. And then also on the morning news, you'll see that, and it's just her and I in New York City. We actually had to film it right across the bridge in New Jersey due to the limitations of COVID-19, and it's the staff, whatever you call it, the people. There's all kind of sound guys and sound ladies and assistants and assistants, and so we had a huge group there, but very, very excited about that. Look out for that coming down soon, and really honored to be in business with Barbara Corcoran on Shark Tank. So really quick, the numbers from last month, they're interesting because we saw for the first time in a while a decline in sales. And so if you remember a few weeks back, you go back, watch our other YouTube videos or YouTube episodes of this radio show. I predicted that we see a decline simply because I was watching how many properties each week were going under contract, and it was kind of alarming. It was around 700 to 800 a week. It dropped down to the high fours, even at one point 300. And then it kind of hovered around 500 to 600. And so we're seeing that happen in terms of closed sales, right? There's two ways to look at numbers. I call it the front windshield, which is really what's happening now in terms of new properties going under contract. And then we got the rear view mirror, which is properties that close. And so the easiest report to look at is properties that close. And so if you look at last month, which is July, single family resale homes were down in terms of sales 9.8%. And so almost double-digit decline. It actually was 644 home sales last month, down from June, which was 790. And so you can see a significant decrease there. It was actually down a little bit in May, then back up in June. We're seeing just kind of some bounces back and forth. There was some chaos a little bit with interest rates. I think you'll see next month's numbers when they have August here soon in a few weeks. You're going to see that bump back up in terms of sales. The great news, though, is we're seeing prices still continue to increase, which is awesome. Median price up 21.2% at $320,000. We're at a new record in terms of our entire marketplace, which is awesome. Average sale price up 16% at $393,707. And so that's awesome news there. One thing that's really driving a lot of these has just been inventory. Inventory is down 62.9% from the same time last year, which means there's just a lot less homes, right? You have sales increase for month after month, inventory decreasing. I will say, though, we did see a bump in the last month in terms of inventory, which is awesome news. And so like last month, and if you look at June, is 1.2 months of inventory. Right now we're at 1.3 months inventory. And if you go back to May, it was 1.1 months. And so ideally, if you look at actual single family homes for sale, as of today, there's 543 single family resale homes on the market in Horry County. Obviously, there's a lot of new construction there too, but that's up. It was in the 380s just a month ago. And so you're seeing that kind of happen, which has been good for really buyers out there because there's more options out there. It's a little bit more competition for sellers, but we're still in a super seller's market. And so what that means is typically you have a buyer's market, seller's market. A seller's market's anything where inventory is below 6 months. Right now, it's super low at 1.3 months inventory. And so keep that in mind overall. Look at condos. Condo sales, they were up last month, which is good, up 5.3% at 681. Into sales price for condos, if you look at median sales price in condos, up 15.9%, which is awesome, 168 in terms of median sale price. Supply down 80%. And so we're seeing that's a new record for condos at 1.0 months of inventory. What we've seen happen there is they just ran out of houses for people to buy. So guess what they did? They all moved to condos and they just bought everything else that was pretty much affordable there in that term. So really quick, one thing I'm going to do, this is one thing that we get the most feedback on in terms of when we do the show, but it's probably the hardest for me to do because I have to run through it. And like Mr. Rick Roberts says, I talk super fast. So I'm going to run through some of this really quick in terms of it, just because everybody wants to know, like, that's the questions I get the most, like, man, what's my area doing? Because there is a difference of markets really from the whole Grand Strand, depending on where you're at. Some are more inland, some are in different areas. So like right now, the core is Myrtle Beach, right? 29577, 29572. If you look at closed sales last month, down 19.2%. So double digits there, which is interesting to look at. Year to date, those up 15%, which is great. Median price is still doing very well, up 21% last month. Right now, Myrtle Beach, the median price $410,000, which is amazing. Great news for homeowners in that zip code. Inventory down 60% in Myrtle Beach in 29577, 29572. Condo closed sales, though, up in Myrtle Beach 14.5%. Median sales price up 11.6%. And inventory down 71% in that area. North Myrtle Beach, 29582 zip code. Guess what? Same problem there. Down 30.5% in terms of actual homes sold last month. So, for example, in 2020, there was 82 sales. 2021, only 57. And so that, again, has to do with some of the inventory challenges. But just being in the trenches every day, you can feel it softening a little bit. And a lot of people just moved earlier than usual, right? A little bit less seasonality this year because people were frustrated and the COVID lockdowns really had a lot of people moving early. Median price up 19.7%, which is awesome, up to $495,000 right now for the median price in North Myrtle Beach. Inventory also down 48.7%. Little River, sales are exactly flat, literally. There's 74 last year, 74 this year in July. Prices, though, up 6.2%. And so you can see a significant difference here, right? Some are 20+%, some are 6%. And so that's why it's important for your agent to know and have that data, because you really kind of create your strategy based on those numbers here. Loris and Long, super hot right now. Sales there up 68.6%. Loris and Longs. It's a hot area because everyone's moving more inland, because guess what they have there? Land and availability. And you're seeing people move that way. Prices are up 31.9%, which is awesome, awesome news. Inventory is also down 61%. Carolina Forest sales declined 12.8% last month. Median price up 35.1%. That's a huge jump. So if you're a homeowner in Carolina Forest, ideally you had a 35.1% increase in your equity in the last 12 months. And so, for example, last year in July, it was 285. Right now, this year, 384, 994. And so a lot of people making some money off houses. And that's some great, great news in terms of equity. Inventory in Carolina Forest down 48.6%, which is kind of what you're seeing drive prices up. Soxy, flat almost, actually one less home sale, down 0.8%. The great news is price is still up 21.1%, and inventory is down 66%. Into Surfside Beach, where I grew up, my mom still lives there, my stepdad. Closed sales up 8.7%, median price up 14.6%, and inventory is down 56.1%. My mom says they're building everywhere. Every single lot, every single anything is getting something built or torn down and rebuilt, which is just showing a lot of growth there. Garden City Myrtle's Inlet is 29576. Sales also down 10.6%. Prices up 5.8% at 330,110. Pawleys Island also seeing the same decline in sales here, down 22.6% last month. The good news is prices up 33.1. Last thing here is Georgetown, down 22% in terms of sales. Prices up 17.3% at 240,430. And so what's that mean? The one trend you're going to look at here is seeing a decline in sales for new properties closed, right? So we always look at price. Price is what we call a lagging indicator. And so if you got sales down, right, then eventually you're going to potentially see some softening of price, usually 2 to 3 months later. I don't necessarily foresee this being a long-term thing. I think a lot of times there's some buyer fatigue, some low amount of inventory, and some interest rates that jumped up pretty significantly about a month and a half ago, which had some buyers go back to the fence. But if you're a home seller, just think, hey, look, here's the deal. So there's some softening right now, aka less sales. There's more inventory right now, which is more competition for you, but prices are at an all-time high. And so if you're thinking about selling, you've been on the edge and not really sure and been listening, take advantage of that right now. We're in a seasonal marketplace here. Everyone knows in Myrtle Beach, you make the hay while the sun shines, so to speak, and get your house in the market in this fall market while the weather's still nice. There's tons of people here still coming in town, buying property, and you can get the most amount of money before you see any softening. We're seeing a lot of people with investment properties right now cashing in at the top. And so if you know someone thinking about doing that, have them call us. Save me in your phone. Give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. One thing really quick that's driving this has been interest rates. Last week's show was 2.85%. Right now we're at 2.93%. A 15-year fixed rate, 2.38%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.65%, a jumbo loan 3.10, and a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage right now is super, super low, which is very good at 2.52%. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call us. We'll take a quick break. We have our hot buyers alert and some great, great success stories for you guys.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, if you own property in Myrtle Beach, the National
What we got? About 9 minutes? About 9 minutes? You think? Okay. Thank you. You gonna do the hot bars? Okay, you're gonna do it. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, it's now time for the hot buyers alert, and these are hot. Blake and his team are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area from $150,000 to $3.5 million. Now, if you're thinking of selling, please contact us immediately at 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Now, weekly buyer lead update. Now, Blake showed me his current count of buyers who are signed up and actively searching for homes daily on his website. 62,881 active home buyers.
Yes, that's the crazy part. And thanks, Drake, on that. So those are actual separate accounts with separate people. A lot of times people hear that number like, man, is that like hits? That's actually separate people with a separate username, password, account who are looking at properties. And people ask, like, how do you do that? How's it happen? Well, our huge advantage that we have, and the things that got us in Forbes and Wall Street Journal is different business model. I looked at what people did outside of real estate and said, hey, how can we duplicate that in real estate and create a real business with real people who are actual specialists, not some generalist who's trying to do everything? And so in that scenario, we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, literally, right? Tens and tens of thousands of dollars driving traffic all online from all over the country. And so if people ask, like, why should I call you versus anyone else? The reality is we have 62,881 buyers that we acquired, that we paid for before you ever pick up that telephone to call me, versus the competition who may or may not be, a part-time realtor, whatever they are. They wait to put the sign in the yard before they even start the game. Here, we're bringing them from all over the country, international, in terms of our spending. So like right now on the site, Robert Peterson, he's from Smyrna, Georgia. He's been here 50 separate visits. We've got 73 properties. The median price is $555,000 that he's looking for. I got Greg and Debbie from Allentown, PA. Greg Schroeder from Charlotte, North Carolina. John from Surfside. I got Teresa Bard from Pennsville, New Jersey. I got Anthony from Valley Stream, New York. I got Kenneth Tabler from Gardner, North Carolina. Last one here, I got Mercedes from Bayville, New Jersey. And so the reality is we have buyers from all over. A great connection in terms of New York and Manhattan, obviously through Barbara Corcoran, and just a massive amount of people that we spend money to online, because everyone today goes straight to their smartphones. And guess what? That's where we spend the most amount of money to bring buyers in. And so if you know anyone that's thinking about selling, that even maybe talks about it, if you like them, don't like them, have them reach out and call us. We're seeing a lot of high-end properties. We just put a $1.2 million property on the Waterway under contract this last week. Our team put 28 properties under contract last week just by pushing super hard. And so the market is still hot, which is great. That's one thing that's super important. Really quick, 2 quick success stories we're super, super proud of in terms of that. Joanne and Larry, they're awesome past clients of ours. They recently decided to sell one of their investment properties, though. They had such a great experience with us the first time. They reached out to us again. Here's the crazy part. They were unsure exactly what they'd be able to get for the property because it was very unique, but we came in. design a custom marketing plan specifically for their property, and show them how we get $25,000 more than what they even thought was possible. We launched our Globe Marketing Blitz, professional photos, virtual reality tour within 48 hours. We drove massive traffic, had 5 offers on the property. Joanne and Larry, they chose the quick close cash offer, $15,000 above asking price, and sold it as is, meaning they don't got to fix anything up, change anything. Doesn't matter what pops up in the home inspection because of the demand that we drove. So very, very cool. They ended up with $40,000 more than they originally hoped they could sell the property for, and we helped put that in their pocket. So good thing they came back to us. Also, this is a really cool one, and it has to do with a probate sale. I know it's very difficult, people. We were talking about this with my team this week. We actually specialize in that. We've done so many of them, and I know it's very difficult, right? Because usually you have multifamily members, and what you find happens is a lot of people in probate, they just dump it because sometimes the house may be older, it may need some work. Here's the deal. You can sell it for top dollar still. Don't just sell it to some investor at 50, 60 cents in the dollar because you don't want to mess with it. We can make it seamless and get you top dollar in that scenario. Walter's brother recently passed away, and big shout out Walter's a listener to the show, but left him and siblings the home here in Myrtle Beach. The family decided they want to sell the home. Thankfully, listener to the show here called into us, and we basically helped them get the property sold. The biggest thing they wanted was someone who can handle every aspect and make it as easy as possible because there's multiple parties, which we did because we're very good at it. We launched our Globe Marketing Blitz, professional photos. In just a few days, drove massive traffic, had their family full price offer. Now they can move on and put maximum dollar in their pocket. All of that being stress-free. And so we have other couple pages in that. But the bottom line is the market's super hot right now. Here's the thing. It's a very fast pace. And if you try to, you have to have experience in what you're doing. Your agent needs experience because there's so many nuances about appraisals. We have a lot of agents who are seeing their appraisals aren't coming in. We fought 2 successfully this week where we had a second review appraisal done, and we're able to get that extra money for our client because we understand there's nuances. But what you find is if you're inexperienced and the agent's inexperienced, they're going to tend to screw up, right? If I'm trying to disarm a bomb and I'm rushing through it very, very fast, it increases the chances of messing up, right? It's the same thing you see happen here with your home sale, but sometimes that costs you $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 more dollars. And the reality is the stakes could not be higher right now. You can take that same money, you can invest that money. That's a kid's college fund. But we're seeing these mistakes made every single week in terms of people underpricing it. The example we gave there a minute ago with Joanne and Larry, they could have cost themselves $40,000 if they wouldn't have called us, right? So many people are like, well, I can just put it myself online. Yeah, you can, but you can also lose $40,000 like they would have in that scenario. Why? Because we're in this thing all day, every day. And so anyone thinking about selling, reach out to us, save me in your phone, tackle them, drag them in, whatever you got to do, have them call us 843-808 sold. What's 1 minute? Interesting number here I think is important. Myrtle Beach International Airport, busiest airport in South Carolina this summer. We're seeing that record passenger traffic, more than 500,000 passengers in July. I flew in and out of there a few times. That came from WBTW, but here's the coolest part, right? Total passenger traffic, almost 550,000, a 49% increase over July. Guess what? Myrtle Beach, the secret is out. People are coming here. People in New York were talking about it. There's a new destination people are coming to with all these new airlines. So your property value is going up. Reach out, call us 843-808 sold. Yeah. We good? All right, that's it for the show. If you guys have any questions, call us 843-808 sold. We'll be here next week, next Saturday and Sunday with a brand new show for you guys.